Second to last ThroneCast, second to last episode. Seth Dunlap, T-Bob, Hebert.
Oi!
He hosts double coverage in the morning, 3WL 1350 with Christian Garrick. And let's get right into it
today, Seth.
Thank you. I always smell good.
You
I
do.
smell like, I don't know what I smell like. I was going to make some crazy analogy to Game of Thrones, but I don't know. I smell like Cersei's
all I can say is it's a
wine
pleasant scent.
and roses from House Tully.
It's a pleasant scent to the nostrils. I'm just going to skip right over whatever you just said.
Obviously, one big topic from this week.
Yeah.
The Black Wire. I think Grantland put it the best when they said, we finally arrived. This validates the point that the TV medium can do big battles and these epic battles as well as some
somewhat.
movies.
Yeah. I mean, I got to admit, and I'll go ahead and get this out the way. I don't know how you felt about it, and I want to see how this plays out next episode. But I do think that they succeeded with flying colors when it came to the fight at what would you call it at Black Castle? Like not the fight on the wall, but the fight taking place.
Oh, Castle Black down below.
Yeah, Castle Black down below. I thought all of that excellent, top notch. Thoroughly enjoyed it beginning to end. We'll break that down, but I will say, for an army of 100,000, I don't think they did the best job of showing this army like repeatedly attacking the walls and getting thrown back. Like it seemed like there were a few hundred people out of this 100,000 that kind of creeped up, like, oh, we're gonna kill you, got rebuffed, and they're like, what? That's it.
Yeah.
We're over it, man. We can't do it. Now, granted, a lot of that 100,000 civilians in the wildlings, everybody
They are
kills.
civilians.
But, women and children. No, but I'm saying, but they kill. Women and children can still fight better than your average Westerosi civilian, but they're still not fighting men. I just don't know if they really showed their numbers advantage, though, I guess. They didn't really press the advantage. They didn't make it hard on the Night's Watch on the top of the wall.
Yeah, and if this is the first time joining us, he's read the books, I haven't, so a little bit of different perspective there. However, I did hear that they intentionally departed from the book on this episode a little bit because, as an example, at the end of the episode, we see that Manstrader's army is pulling back. They say they just were testing them, wanted to reattack. And I heard that in the book, it's more of a constant push the whole time.
Yeah, no,
right?
Definitely. It's a
so a different battle.
It's
than
a barrage
was in the book. Yeah,
it's a barrage, and the Night's Watch really is kind of like constantly, having to rebuff that attack, and he gets pretty desperate at times. So, and it doesn't look like they're going that direction. It looks like they maybe want to speed this conflict up a little bit. I'm as interested as anybody to see what's going to happen with Jon Snow going out to visit Manstrader next week. And I know I criticized that part of the battle, but man, the Castle Black part of the battle, I really, really loved.
Yeah, we'll get into the Jon Snow. By the way, my prediction didn't come totally true. Last week I predicted that there would be some kind of Jon Snow trying to ally with the Wildlings. Didn't happen last episode, but I have a feeling something's going to happen. Obviously, he's not just going to walk up and sneak in and kill Manstrader. That's not going to happen. If you saw the previews, we know that's not going to happen.
No, he left. I mean, he left his Valyrian steel blade back at Night's Watch. Yeah, because he has to go unarmed. You're not getting to see Manstrader with like a giant sword strapped to your back. So
I just have, and remember, and everybody always points this out to me, and it's a great point to remind ourselves of. This isn't a battle of conquest for the Wildlings. This is a battle of we need to get the fuck out of here because the White Walkers are coming to kill everybody.
It's survival.
So,
it really is survival for them at this point. Like you said, White Walkers.
Yeah.
Coming basically, if you're Wildlings, it's a pretty sympathetic spot that they're in. They have this. First off, they feel slighted by these people that took their lands and forced them north beyond the wall. But they've got this giant impenetrable wall on one side of them, and then an army of supernatural, evil, dead zombie things behind them. Like they are literally stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to me. I don't know if I was manning the North or king of the North, I suppose I would try to make a deal with them, just because if there truly is, and you believe that there's a White Walker threat out there with this army of thousands of White Walkers who can turn all these dead people into zombies. By the way,
I don't know if zombies is the right term, but whatever. There's some sort of supernatural undead evil.
My point was, I would try to ally with them and say, hey, you can come in the north, but you're going to have to help us man the wall. Because remember, they only have 112 people up in the Night's Watch right now.
Absurd.
If you have an army of 100,000 wildlings coming down, you could throw some of them in exchange for a deal here. All right, we'll let you come in. I don't know. That probably won't happen. That would be what I did.
Well, the nice part about this is, to your point, if they were to make a deal or if they're going to enter talks, at least the Night's Watch is probably the only other group in Westeros that will believe the talk of White Walkers.
Yeah.
And that will take the threat seriously, and that may, lend some credence to that. Because if you're going to King's Landing or somewhere else with talk about White Walkers, you're kind of going to get laughed out of the room as a crazy person. But both the Wildlings and the Night's Watch have now had pretty extensive dealings with said evil.
The only Night Watchman there who's actually seen one is Sam. Is that true? And nobody believes him, right?
No.
I wouldn't say nobody believes him, but there's
No, I think they've seen them.
Okay.
I think they've seen them. They've seen corpses of people that died
John
from
seen
them.
one? Not in the show, anyways. I don't
Yeah,
think.
John fought
Did he?
one. Remember, he caught it on fire way back.
Okay.
John saw one of the first.
Okay.
Now, not a true White Walker, but one of the
Like the
dead
zombie.
that's raised. Yeah. So I mean, I'm pretty sure among the Night's Watch at this point, it's common knowledge that White Walkers are out there and that it's not just a fairy tale, that they're real.
Okay. All right. By the way, this was directed by the same person who did Blackwater. They had a big battle scene in the show. Blackwater happened.
Blackwater
in
was
season
well
2.
done as well.
That was Neil Marshall. I'm not trying to say that this was the battle at Helm's Deep or the battle of the three armies or whatever in
Battle of Helm's Deep, absolutely incredible in the Two Towers. The filming the Battle of Helm's Deep, really interesting stuff. And I think what you're looking for is the Battle of Pelennor Fields, which is a Return of the King, which was even longer and even more cool.
Those
and
are probably
Hobbit 3 is going to have the Battle of the Five Armies,
that's what I'm
which
thinking
will
of, right?
be crazy.
Yeah. Lord of the Rings, the best fantasy fight I've ever seen, but this would have to rank up there, even though it's not a movie.
Man, for sure.
I mean, no, it was great. Can I just? I want to jump around. I don't want to go in chronological order here. I just want to. My favorite scene of the whole fight was the giant who. His friends got killed. His mammoth got lit on fire, and you could see him turn, and he's just massively pissed off now.
What's his name? Mag the Mighty?
Oh, they didn't say in the show.
But that's his. I think that's technically the character's name is Mag the Mighty. Yeah. So if you're trying to talk to your friends about it, you can refer to him as Mag the Mighty.
Yeah. So this giant just gets all sorts of angry, and comes back to the gate, raises it up himself. By the way, if I was Manstrader or somebody, I would have said, go stick a giant tree under that or something.
Yeah, go now. Go now.
And you see him, and they did it perfect because I didn't think they needed to show it. I thought it was a cool effect because you didn't know what happened till the very end. But you just see him running through the tunnel once he finally gets into there against this very flimsy gate. And five guys from the Night's Watch.
Part of me was expecting that gate to just kind of and crush Grin in them. But I think the gate, it's probably a little bit stronger than it looks because it is built into the ice. But Giants, very strong. I gotta say this about the Giants. You can ask my wife. I was mind blown. I love fantasy. I love everything about fantasy. I always have. How have I never thought about a giant using a giant bow and arrow?
Yes.
I've thought about giants with all sorts of different weapons. I've never even conceived the idea of a giant with a giant bow and arrow, and that was one of the coolest scenes I have ever seen when they start shooting up there. The one just rips through the tower, shatters the roof, and the one that catches the dude in the chest, he gets thrown oh my God, dude. I have goosebumps just talking about it. That was supremely cool to me. I geeked out really hard.
Lots of big weapons. The other cool weapon was when they released the big, I don't know if it's
the anchor thing.
Anchor.
Yeah. Oh, God. Dude.
Release the ice!
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, what's going on here? They're causing an avalanche. No! They're causing an avalanche, and they have this massive anchor.
Very efficient as well, too, as far as you can drop it and then raise it back up. And so basically you're making a pretty wide stretch of that wall unclimbable because there's no getting past that once you're up there.
No, it just depends on how long it takes them to get it back up. But they're saying it takes basically a full day to climb that wall, or a good portion of a whole day to climb that wall.
I still feel what the wildlings should have done was all forces at the gate. Just overwhelm them with your superior numbers, take down the gate. Get inside that inner gate, and it's over. But
yeah, and remember, this is a band. This isn't a highly trained, skilled army that's under they're under Mance Rayder's control, but it's a ragtag group of hundreds of different tribes.
They're great individual fighters because of the hardships they endure. Their environment kind of breeds them that way. But yeah, they're not going to fight you with organized tactical skill.
No. So let's go to the other side, down in your favorite
Castle
part.
Black. Oh, so
Castle
cool,
Black
dude.
It was very good. And
So many great parts.
No, and Sam was one of my least favorite characters in the show. Redeemed himself to me just a little bit last week. And maybe that's the way he's supposed to play the characters, a little bit annoying, a little bit of trying to get on your nerves a little bit as a watcher.
He's just, he's just human. I know, but I'm saying, like, he's human. Yes, Sam's a little bit of a wuss, but, like, wouldn't a lot of us be, with all the things that they've gone through, be a little bit of a wuss? I think I like Sam for the reason that he's been a very relatable character for most of this series. Yeah, you want to see the heroes and everything, but Sam Tarly is someone that a lot of people can identify with. If they were put in these crazy, deathly situations, it's how they would react.
Yeah. Well, he had, like I said, and
he came out brave with flying colors in this episode.
Yeah. He was the one. I wouldn't say he wasn't organizing the defense down there, but without him, I don't know if without him and John coming back down, they definitely wouldn't have held down below.
He got himself a kill, and he freed Ghost, which was perhaps most important.
Yeah, that's only the second kill we've seen Sam get. One was a White Walker.
He kissed Gilly.
Yes.
First ever kiss for Sam.
Yeah, and even Sam says duty becomes before love. Just locked her down there. Like, I was totally expecting him just to lock himself in that room with her.
But Sam recognizes bros before hoes, right? I mean, he knew that he had to be out there for his bros. Like, look, Gilly, you're cool. I love you. That's cool. But at the end of the day, my bros need me. I gotta go.
Yeah, a lot of those Night Watch characters that you kind of maybe didn't know their names. You certainly knew their faces because they've been there since season 1. Some of them, they all died. It seems like they all died. By the way, my favorite transformation. Again, we're jumping around because I want to jump around. My favorite transformation was the commander, and I forget his name. The commander of the Night's Watch.
Thorne.
Right? You knew he's an asshole, but he looks like a hell of a commander, right? He even told John, hey, we can hate each other after this, but let's team up here and make sure we hold this.
I got goosebumps, man. Yeah. I agree. One of the coolest parts of the episode, showing that, yes, Alistair Thorne, if you're a fan of John, you're not going to be a fan of him. He's a dick, and but he also shows that he's in that position for a reason. He has leadership experience, and he proved to be a much better man at the end of the day than his right-hand little weasel Seth.
Oh, God, yeah.
The old, the old commander of, what are we looking for? The Kingsguard? No, not the Kingsguard.
Yeah, it was the Kingsguard.
The Gold Cloaks. The Gold Cloaks. The old commander of the Gold Cloaks.
What's the difference?
The Kingsguard is the king's personal guards. Well, God, that's a terrible way to say it. But that is what it is. The Gold Cloaks are King's Landing's kind of police force.
Okay.
The city defense. So he was in charge of Gold Cloaks. Set. He's a wuss. Alistair Thorne, jerk, yes. Maybe a little short-sighted in his decisions sometimes, yes. But
he even admitted it, though.
But yeah, exactly. But he recognizes, though, that when you're in that leadership position, this is when he's telling John. I thought this was really interesting because it does seem they're prepping John to assume a leadership role. But when you're in that leadership position, look, you can have others doubt you. That's fine. But when you start doubting yourself and your decisions, that's when you may run into a bit of an issue. So he recognized, not closing that wall, not freezing that tunnel, the wrong decision. But he had to stick with it. And he proved himself to be a worthy commander, leading by example in that battle in Castle Black, and really, man, doing some work down there rallying the troops.
No, and that's why, like I said, he's a very, you never would have thought, which the way they've set him up in the show, that he would be an effective commander like that. But they would not have held the wall without him either. I mean, they needed everybody. They only had 102, right? Before that, now they're definitely. I don't know how many they have left.
So refresh my memory. Did he die? Did it show him being killed? He got wounded.
He got wounded in the chest. They did not show him dying. So he will. I'm sure we'll see him again. Maybe not this season, but next season.
One of the coolest shots, and there's so many fights to talk about in this Castle Black fight. But one of the coolest shots, they had a continuous shot that went over the entire castle, jumped from character to character. It had like Alistair Thorne fighting,
Oh,
and,
right, the 360?
Snow, the 360, dude. That was one of my favorite shots. That's probably the clip I'll include at the end of the show, actually. Probably one of my favorite shots in all of Game of Thrones ever. It was supremely cool. It kind of gave you that theater type vibe, like any extended takes do. And it had more Tormund Giantsbane, who is the absolute man, bottom line, with his big red beard. And Tormund, what I found interesting about Tormund is he has a different fighting style than maybe you would expect from a big guy. Like the big cannibal guy's got the big, broad, like double-sided death axe that also looks very cool. And you think Tormund might have like a hammer or something a big guy would use. No, he's rocking like 2 short swords and just supremely
the old dual
effective,
wield,
dude. Yeah, supremely effective.
Video gamer, right? Right, more damage per second. More
exactly.
DPS.
More DPS.
More DPS.
Maximum deeps.
What else down on the wall? Obviously, we heard about Ghosts getting out, which was cool. Ygritte fitting in. I mean, you knew her time. There was no way that they were going to reunite. Right, there's just no way possible their 2 worlds could reunite.
Ygritte is crazy. Ygritte killed everybody.
Right, Ygritte killed dude.
She killed Pip.
When they did like the old first-person shooter kind of video game style, when they were like looking out of her bow, and she was like shooting everybody.
She's just dropping it too. Ygritte's beast.
Right, and again, George R.R. Martin, he always writes that all actions have consequences, and remember, she shot the kid who killed her parent right in the face when he was trying to farm.
That's that kid?
And that's that kid who ended up killing her.
Oh my God, the one that was like potato soup.
Yes, exactly.
Oh God.
So every action has.
Good for that kid. One of the most unintentionally funny, or maybe they knew it was kind of funny, but one of the most unintentionally funny parts of that episode was definitely him killing Ygritte and then kind of looking at John like, hey, I saved you, bro.
I know, and John's just like,
no, what did you do that for? Like, you think that kid felt awkward? I felt like if you would have gone back to him, you'd have been like, ooh, what
did I do?
Why is he hugging her? Yeah. I'm gonna go walk back over here.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Oh, classic Ygritte. Classic Ygritte on the deathbed telling Jon he knows nothing.
Hey, I want to go backwards a little bit before the fight started. My favorite, I love the lower lying storylines in the show, kind of the background, give you the lore, I guess would be the lore storylines, give you a little lore about the story. And Maester Aemon, right? And I think he mentioned it once before in passing, but yes, that's it. He's a Targaryen.
Yeah.
And I tweeted out a Ask the Maester from, I think it was Grantland as well, that they do every week to kind of give you a history and background without any spoilers.
In case you can't tell.
Right.
It's great side,
but they told his story, and you might know this a little more as a book reader, that he mentioned it in the show that I had a chance, but I turned it down. I don't even think he would have had a chance at. But he would have been, and he still, because he's still alive, he still would have been the king of the 7 kingdoms. He would have been. He was offered the Iron Throne.
No, technically he's heir to the throne.
Yeah. He's a Targaryen.
If the Baratheons hadn't taken it by power after his family members died, he was next in line.
And how now? If he would have been on the throne, there wouldn't have been a Mad King. There might have not been a Baratheon revolution.
Okay, wait. So I didn't realize this. I don't remember this. So he turned down the throne pre-Mad King?
I think it was his brother who was the Mad King, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's intriguing. So why did he take the
brother
black?
or nephew? Because apparently, this is how they said it in that Grantland article, is that there were so many Targaryens, he was worried about infighting and a civil war among those tribes because...
Good guy, Aemon.
Right, and he'd said that people would have recruited him to basically start the civil war and used him as a pawn in starting a civil war. So instead of having himself be a pawn, that he said, I'm going to go take the black and save my family.
Actually,
and the
is that good guy Aemon, or is that maybe a little bit of shirking your responsibility?
I think it's a little both.
It is a little.
And by the way,
like
Danny
I feel like that's maybe wrapping up kind of selfish desires or a little bit of cowardly desires in nice like wrapping paper, like making it look a little better, saying, oh, I didn't want to cause a revolution, when really you could take the other side and say, well, if I'm king and I'm a good king, there'll be no need for revolution.
Yeah, and Danny always calls herself the last Targaryen. Not quite true, at least not yet. So.
Aemon's on his way out, though.
Yeah. And I think one thing, this is going beyond last episode a little bit, but we forget, And they try to remind us every once in a while, but maybe they don't do a very good job of it, that the Martells were the biggest allies of the Targaryens, and that's why they've been kind of out, I wouldn't say outlawed, but kind of shunned down there in the south. By the way, I cannot wait for next season when this, I can't say too much, but until this Martell storyline gets going a little more.
You know what sucks? You know what really sucks?
Yeah.
The fact that we're only one episode away from having to wait another year till next April to watch more Game of Thrones.
What, in 9 months? Right. 8.5 months. Okay, so anything else you want to talk about this episode before we focus on what's going to happen in the final episode?
No, I mean, once again, I just say excellent job on the creators and show's part on making that battle at Castle Black so intense, so much fun to watch. The 360 shot I loved all of Tormund Giant's Bane scene. I thought the fight between Jon and the main cannibal was excellent.
Yeah. The
scrappiness that it takes, using anything around you, not necessarily fair fighting. He learned that from
right.
Our boy Carl, the assassin at Craster's. And Jon ends up finishing the fight by, what was that, a blacksmith hammer?
No.
Snacks
right
up
in the head.
Boom!
Don't fight fair.
Crushed skull, dude. Yeah, that's how you get killed. You got to use what you can. Jon did it. Lesson learned. And it helped him out in a very critical situation.
So what are we looking... just stay with the Night Watch episode. I really want to see what Jon and Matt Schrader are going to... They've got to come to some kind of agreement. I don't know what agreement that's going to be, but they're both... Now, they have... I don't even want to say they have opposite goals. They're just on opposite sides, where I think they both realize that it's futile for them both to be continuing to go up at each other in a stalemate at the wall. That's it. Running out of time.
Run out of memory.
Memory. We will have our last episode next week. The Children, the most shocking episode ever, and the finale.
It's gonna be crazy.
Gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be shocking.
Oh!